So the next function that we're going to be looking at is factor underscore lump. This function is significant when we're looking at levels within a factor that are not that significant, and we want to kind of bring them all together as a single level. So we're looking at examples like the values within for Ellen Paul, Gordon, that's Saka, Bakassi, and Funny Bone. They are kind of so low compared to what we have in other levels. So we might want to bring them together as just one level. So that's where the factor underscore lump function from the forcats package comes in. So we'll use that to bring them together now, then we'll see the significance so that our audience can focus on the most significant levels within the variable, that's the factor variable. So we want to go ahead, we're using the last table that we created. I'll bring that down here. So I'll pack that into another mutate function. So doing a lot on the comedian now as a factor. So I'm going to send that back to comedian. So I'll pipe that into the factor underscore lump function. That's FCT underscore lump. So before we can use the factor underscore lump function, it takes some arguments. So we'll need to tell it how many number of levels are we keeping. So that will be the n is equal to, so we want to take the first 8 significant levels. So I'll assign 8 to that. So then the next one will be on which basis, on which of the variables are we looking at making these levels significant. So we're looking at the total underscore viewers variable. So another thing is, what name are we going to give to the new groups, the new levels, excuse me. So we want that, okay, let me bring this down. So we want the name to be all other comedians. So now let's run this line of code and see what we have. So we can see Helen has been renamed as all other comedian. The same thing goes with Gordon's. That will be Saka, Bakassi, and Funny Bone. So they're now having the same name because we've kind of grouped them together. So let's visualize and see what we have here. So I'll pipe that again into our visualize function. So I'll run this together. So let me share my screen for the plot. So I'll share that so I can see a larger screen. So now we can see we have all other comedians on a single line. So they are all represented as dots. You can see they are so closely packed together. So a smart way to visualize this would be to group them as a single group, not just different groups being represented on the same line. So that we're going to go ahead and group them, then we'll visualize again and see what we have there. Okay, I'll go back to my screen. So now I want to take out the visualize function. I'll replace that with the group by. So I'm grouping by the comedian now. So I'll pipe that and summarize. So total underscore viewers is going to be equal to the sum. That will be sum total underscore viewers. Okay, so I'll pipe that now into the visualize function. So now we'll be able to appreciate lumping them together. So now let me zoom and share the screen. Okay. So now we can see we have them represented as a single dot, not so many dots on the same line. So we can now focus more on the significant ones. Okay. So I'll go back to my screen, the R Studio. So moving on, we're going to look back at our plot. Let me share the screen again with you. Okay, if we look at our screen, we can see that the all other comedians level, they are kind of shoot up as the first level. So this is not something smart to do. So we want to bring it down to be at the bottom, while the significant ones should go up. This is where we're going to use the factor underscore level function within the forcats package. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to copy out this the code chunk that we used here. Then we're going to make another change to our comedian variable. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to copy out all this and bring it down here. So before we visualize, I want to do another mutate on the comedian variable. So I'm going to take that in and equate it to the comedian. So I'll pipe that to the function factor underscore level. Okay, here we have it. Okay, so now for the level now, we're going to tell the function to take the all others comedian and put them after 0. So it's going to be at the bottom now. So it's not going to come up. So I'm going to say, put that value in quotation, all other comedians, all other comedians. So then it'll be comma and after is equal to 0. So it's going to come first from the bottom. So now I would now pipe that into the visualize. Okay, it's not there. So I'm putting the pipe here. Then let's look at what we get from this. Okay, I'll zoom now. Let me share the screen so that you can appreciate it. So here, so now we have cleaned the drum now up. So we have all other comedians right way below, down at the bottom. So we have it down at the bottom now. So what factor underscore level is helping us to do is that we're manually re-leveling various levels within our factor. So we either move it backward or forward. So this all other comedians coming as the 0th level. So we have others coming before it. So it's now down. So this makes it easier. Okay, I'll go back to my R Studio. So that there we have it. So now we've talked about the factor underscore level. We talked about the FCT underscore lump. So we'll come back after the break, 5 minutes break. Then we'll look at the factor underscore drop for dropping unused levels like the insignificant ones. Then we'll look at how we can use these functions within our plot without using them within the data set itself. So we'll come back in the next 5 minutes to continue with the class. Thank you.